West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast. West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. I'm one half of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, Machel St. Patrick Hewitt, and we are back for a very quick episode, just looking ahead to the T20 series against New Zealand. Now, obviously, Santoki and myself recorded a preview more so of the Test series with a kind of real focus on Kemar Roach and whether Kemar Roach is going to be recalled. We believe he is going to be recalled, but doing a kind of preview / deep dive around that particular issue. Thank you to everyone who's watched that episode. Thank you to everyone who's left comments around that episode, etc. This particular episode, like I say, is just honing in on the T20 series and the few changes that have been announced by West Indies ahead of the series starting against New Zealand. So just to give some people some dates, because the cricket can't stop. Like, we barely get a break, right? So Bangladesh series just ended. So I've got my diary. You can hear all the pages turning. Bangladesh series just ended on Friday. At the time of recording, it's Monday. The first T20 against New Zealand is on Wednesday. I'm going to give you the UK times and then work backwards from there. So the first game is 6:15 in the morning UK time. Then Thursday's the second T20, again, 6:15 in the morning. The third game is Sunday, 12:15, 12:15 at night. Some say morning on the Sunday. The fourth game is on the Monday, again, 12:15 midnight on the Monday. And then the final game is on next Thursday, again, 12:15 midnight. So sleep is for the wicked only, it would appear, when it comes to West Indies cricket, because they've got us up in the dead of night trying to watch this West Indies team. Well, maybe those 12:15 midnight ones in the UK, that's actually a relatively healthy time for the Caribbean audience. But there's no healthy time for us in UK who are going to be watching these games. So anyways, without any further ado, let's just give you the squad. So the main highlights were as follows. Matthew Forde returns after recovering from a shoulder injury sustained in August. Shamar Springer has been included to bolster the seam bowling options following a slew of injuries to this unit. Gudakesh Motie has been excluded from the series following a dip in form and will undertake targeted technical training in collaboration with the Royal Sports Group ahead of his participation in the SA20 and in preparation for the 2026 T20 World Cup. Who else is out then? Ramon Simmons and Jadea Blades are both injured, so they've been ruled out of the series. Obviously, Shamar Joseph was already ruled out, etc. So let's go through. And then the final squad is as follows: Shea Hope captain, Alec Athanase, Akeem Orgeese, Roston Chase, Matthew Forde, Jason Holder, Akil Hussain, Amir Jangu, Brandon King, Carrie Pierre, Rovman Powell, Shafane Rutherford, Jaden Seals, Romario Shepherd, and Shamar Springer. Now, first things first, before we break it down into the who's been selected and who's not been, we first have to acknowledge that it's different conditions in New Zealand. There is not going to be the need to play three spinners like we just did in Bangladesh. So in the Bangladesh T20 series, we went in with Carrie Pierre, Akil Hussain, Roston Chase. At best, we only need two of them. So that will obviously be Akil Hussain and Roston Chase, which means Carrie Pierre's place will be taken by a seamer, which will mean that for our team, we will have four seamers. Jason Holder, Romario Shepherd, I'm assuming this, Jaden Seals, and then somebody, whether Shamar Springer or Matthew Forde. I would assume Matthew Forde, because Matthew Forde is the one more experienced at international level. Arguably, he is a better swing bowler than Shamar Springer. That's nothing against Shamar Springer. I just think that, let's call it what it is, Matthew Forde is more experienced at the international level. He's clearly a Darren Sammy guy. And if he has passed the return to play protocols, then I would assume that Matthew Forde comes in. My only concern around Matthew Forde, nothing to do with him as a player yet, nothing to do with him per se. I just don't know where I stand on. Obviously, he's part of the West Indies squad. and he was part of the West Indies squad before injury. So this isn't about Matthew Ford shouldn't be in the squad. I guess what I'm saying to people is, what's more effective for Matthew Ford right now? Yes, he's proved. What's the line that Cricket West Indies used in their press release? Let me find it again. Having recovered after recovering from a shoulder injury sustained in August, there was and having successfully completed the rehabilitation and return to play protocols process. Hear me out, people. If Matthew Ford has completed the return to play protocols, how do we know he's match sharp? What have they based that on? Was he playing? For those who are in Barbados who follow the cricket closely, get in the comments below. Has he been playing extensive club cricket in Barbados? What did they base his return to play protocols on? Obviously, I know he's been in the nets. Obviously, they've rehabbed his shoulder. I'm not doubting all that. But for me, there is a difference between I am injury free versus I am match sharp. And I just want to know this. Was it not? Let me tell you. I just want to know this. Is it not better for Matthew Ford to go and prove his match sharpness in Super 50 than it is to bring him straight back into the Lions' den in a T20 series against New Zealand? Because if he is rusty from a match sharpness perspective, you're in the Lions' den having to try and run out the rust at the highest level. I don't know if I agree with it. That's not me. Listen carefully, because some of you are hard of hearing. That's not me disagreeing with Matthew Ford being in a West Indies squad. A fully fit Matthew Ford, who is match sharp, should be in a West Indies squad for his all-round abilities, much less his bowling, right? But how has he proved that he's match ready? I want some answers. And I get it, because some of you will be like, but Mash, we haven't got time to waste on all that because it's preparation for the T20 World Cup. T20 World Cup starts in nearly 4 months' time. Can we really afford to not have Matthew Ford playing some international T20s? Can we really wait till our next assignment, which is South Africa, and then we go straight into the World Cup? So I get it. I get why you'd bring him. I'm just wary about match sharpness. That's Matthew Ford out of the way. But in terms of in and of himself, if the conditions are conducive to his bowling, I don't think there's a better swing bowler in the Caribbean than Matthew Ford. If you think I'm exaggerating there, please get in the comments below and tell me who's better. If the conditions are conducive to swing, I think Matthew Ford might be the best swing bowler in the Caribbean. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that's what I feel. Next change, Shamar Springer. So Shamar Springer, I think, was named, if I'm not mistaken, let me just go back and double check before I start talking foolishness. But if I'm not mistaken, let me just check our Twitter account. 21,000 followers on Twitter, by the way. So, or X, whatever you want to call it. So if you'd like to follow us on Twitter or X, go and become 21,001 or whatever it might be. Let me find the squad. So Barbados named their squad the other day. Here it goes. Yeah, Shamar Springer was in Barbados's Super 50 squad. So let's say that Ford has replaced Motie because we don't need an extra spinner, and Motie's down bad. Springer has replaced Ramon Simmons, who was originally in that Super 50, who was originally in the West Indies squad, but obviously is pulled up with an injury. Why Shamar Springer? Someone answer that for me. Why Shamar Springer? Are you telling me that in our depth chart, and I have to assume this is the rationale, because what else is the rationale? Are you telling me that in the West Indies bowling depth chart, it basically goes Jaden, just in terms of seam bowlers, Jaden Seals, Alzari Joseph, Shamar Joseph, that's your front three. Matthew Ford, Jason Holder, Romario Shepherd, that's your next three. And then are we saying that underneath that, our next seam bowling options are Jadea Blades, Ramon Simmons, and Shamar Springer? That's not me doubting Shamar Springer, right? I'm not saying Shamar Springer is a bad player. I actually think he's got a lot of potential. Obviously, he's a 28. I think he's 28 now. Is he 27, 28 now? Obviously, he's just entering youth man prime, yeah, when he fully understands his game. I actually think Shamar Springer is a better batter than a bowler, but that's another story for another day, right? Are we saying that in our depth chart, Shamar Springer is tier 3, our 9th best option? Is that Is that where we're at? And again, that's no diss to Shamar Springer. I just want that question answered. Are we saying that that's our next best option? Bear in mind, Jadea Blades is a left arm seamer. Ramon Simmons is a left arm seamer. So are we saying that with our 2 first and second choice left arm seamers out, that our next depth option is Shamar Springer, who arguably is a batting bowling all rounder rather than a bowling batting all rounder, instead of Obed McCoy? Is Obed McCoy down so rotten that he doesn't even come into consideration anymore? Are our options so rotten that we have no other left arm seamer that can come into consideration anymore? If I'm Darren Sammy, hear me out. Some of you about to cuss me. If I'm Darren Sammy, again, this is no reflection on Shamar Springer. Do not get this twisted. I'm not saying Shamar Springer is a bad player, but why replace a left arm seam option with a right arm all round medium pacer? You could say, I mean, Sammy could easily say to me, Mash, I need to have a look at Shamar Springer, because if Holder or Romaro Shepherd get brucked down, that's our next all-rounding right arm seamer, right? Maybe that's the rationale, but why not Nathan Edward? And before anyone says to me, come on, Mash, he's a Ute man, Sammy ain't afraid to dip into the Ute man, into the Ute man bracket. He ain't afraid to dip into the Ute man bag and see who next is there. So if you wanted to look at another left arm seamer, you might as well have called Ute man Nathan Edward, because all Ute men get a look nowadays. So why not Nathan Edward? He can bat as well. In fact, he was just in the Leeward Islands senior 50 over tournament, 2-day tournament, batting at number 4. And he could be quicker, obviously, but I actually think Nathan Edward will probably say to me, Mash, I'm a better batter than I'm a bowler. I think he's a better bowler than he is a batter. But he can bat. So it's interesting. Am I over egging the Ute man here? Should I just let Ute man sit down and play Super 50 and relax himself? Was Shamar Springer the right call? Let me know in the comments below. And then finally, the main talking point, obviously, which probably, and maybe I haven't decided at the time of recording this, I haven't actually decided what my title is yet. But obviously, the big talking point is Motie is out. I alluded to it already in the video that Santoki and I did about Kemar Roach coming back and looking ahead to the Test series. I think that's the right call. Arguably, Motie should have been dropped before this. He's down, like, obviously, because some of you are so insular in your thinking. Some of you think about your nation first before you think about wider West Indies cricket. People like me think about wider West Indies cricket before I put my nation at the forefront of anything. The only thing I put my nation at the forefront of is donate to the recovery in Jamaica after Hurricane Melissa, support jamaica.gov.jm. I'll put my nation first for that. But in the cricket, I'll put whoever the best cricketer is first, right? In my thinking, right? Motie's out, and he's deservedly out. Look at his numbers. And the thing is, some of you don't do the research. So I know that unless I call the numbers, and I'm more for me because I should have got the numbers ready before this episode was done. But if I'm not mistaken, just off the top of my head, if I'm not mistaken, in ODIs, please correct me in the comments below if I've got it wrong. I feel like should I just go and get it? Fam, let me look at let me get ready, because some of you will crucify me and say, oh, but Mash, you didn't want to call the numbers, and you're saying Motie's form was wrong, but why didn't you call the numbers? You're just making up off the top of your head. Okay, here we go. Here's the numbers just to shut you all up and why I'm saying Motie is deservedly out on form. First and foremost, don't talk to me about his batting. I'm not interested. He's not supposed to be picked as a batting all-rounder. He's there to be a frontline bowler, right? Here's Motie's numbers. So in 2025, in T20s with the ball, Motie has played 11 matches and taken 5 wickets at 57. Economy 9.5. Did you hear what I just said? In 2025, in T20s, Motie has taken, in 11 matches, 5 wickets at 57. Economy 9.5. Yuck, right? That's T20s. Bear in mind that my argument is he should have been dropped before this. Now let's go to tests. In Test cricket this year, I know we're talking about a T20 series, but I'm just putting all of his numbers in context. In Test cricket this year, Motie has played 2 matches in fairness, he's only played the 2 matches in tests. Wait, that's with the bats. So I'm looking at the wrong. Sorry, 2 matches in tests this year, 7 wickets at 26. So you lot will say that's good, obviously. In 2024, if you add his 2024 numbers in, because he only played 2 matches in 2025, the 2 in Pakistan. In 2024, he played 5 matches. He took 6 wickets at 58. 6 wickets at 58, right? So in his last 7 test matches, he's basically taken in his last 7 test matches, he's basically taken 13 wickets at about 40, maybe a bit more than that. In his last 7 test matches, 13 wickets at about 40. Not good enough, right? So that's tests, right? And then lastly, let's look at his ODI numbers as well. This is down rotten numbers, right? This is basically what you'd expect from me. And then in ODIs, he's played 12 matches in 2025. He's taken 9 wickets at 55. Economy 5.7. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So let's just wrap this up again for Motie. ODIs in 2025, he's taken 9 wickets at 55. Economy 5.7. 11 matches in T20s. He's taken, I can't remember how many wickets it was. I think it was 2 wickets or something at 58, was it? At 50 something, economy 9.5. And in his last 7 test matches, he's taken 13 wickets at 40. His bowling is down horrendous, which is exactly why West Indies were right to say he is going to undertake targeted technical training. Whether you agree with him doing it in collaboration with the Royal Sports Group ahead of SA20, I mean, obviously, we've got a T20 World Cup coming up. Right about now, if Royal Sports Group, what happens if Motie has a down horrendous SA20? What happens if his work with the Royal Sports Group doesn't actually help him get his groove back? And Stella can't get his groove back. What if that happens? What are we going to do then? Does that put Carrie Pierre in pole position? If I'm Carrie Pierre, I'm looking at this New Zealand tour now, 5 T20s, and I'm saying, boy, let me try put myself in pole position here because Motie looks like he's down horrendous. So it's up to Carrie Pierre to try and put himself in pole position for the World Cup in India and Sri Lanka. If I'm Stammy, I'm also wondering why I didn't just take a punt on Badesi as well. But anyways, Badesi's going to be playing Super 50, so we shall see. So that's really and truly the T20 squad. I'm not here to say who should play in the starting 11. We could have a debate about should Shafane Rutherford sit out the first few matches. We can have a debate about should Brandon King sit out some matches, etc. That's a conversation for another day. This is just looking at the T20 squad and the key talking points around it. Lastly, we should just say that West Indies announced that Krishnan Hurdle, a clinical psychologist, has joined as a mental skills and performance coach beginning with the New Zealand tour. Obviously, if you remember, in one of the recent press conferences, Miles Bascom spoke about the fact that they were going to appoint a trained psychologist to work with these players. And here's a quote from Miles. The addition of a mental skills and performance coach reflects our commitment to developing the complete cricketer. At the elite level, success is as much about mindset and composure as it is about technical ability. Strengthening this area ensures that our players are provided with the necessary non-technical support geared towards equipping them to manage pressure and maintain focus. I can't cuss it. Good. It's good that they've finally done that. The only cuss you can give is why is it taken so long? But let's not get into that. At least they've now addressed it, because bare of their man in that team look like they need some clinical support, right? Even me in my day job that I do outside of all this cricket stuff, because of the nature of the job I do, which I can't go into details, right? I get supervision for elements of the job that I do, because I have to work with very, very sensitive issues and cases. So I get clinical supervision to make sure that my mental is steady. Now, that's me in my day job. Imagine these next West Indies man and the women's team as well. They're under serious pressure, knowing that they're one bad innings, one bad performance from the entire region cussing them out, and they've had no clinical supervision up till now, just having to hold the meds and protect their mental by themselves. So finally West Indies have dealt with that, and hopefully that helps out a couple, man, because Lord knows I bet some of them have been crying out for it. Listen, get in the comments below, let me know what you think. A little quick video looking at the T20 squad that was announced. As I said earlier on in the video, support Jamaica, please, people. Any little bit that you can spare, supportjamaica.gov.jm. There's a couple people that have reached out to me with regards to other GoFund type initiatives that will help. I'm just finalizing the last few details on that. If you go to our Instagram page at Carib Cricket, you'll see that I've started to put up certain things. So if you don't want to go through the government route, supportjamaica.gov.jm, you can go through these other routes that I'm promoting, whether on X or whether on Instagram, Facebook, Patreon, whatever it is. If you'd like to support the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, which seems a bit glib to say, having just spoken about supporting Jamaica, but of course, as ever, you can become a patron. That's the easiest and quickest way to do it. Also gets you into our CCP Discord. Just go to patreon.com/Carib Cricket. Listen, I've been Machel St. Patrick Hewitt. Like, share, subscribe on the way out. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. And I'll be back very, very soon with some more content. Until then, peace.
West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast. West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.